Hello everyone, welcome to the 23rd of these weekly news videos from the Purple Penny. We're doing this on a Tuesday today because it was a long weekend here in South Australia for the Queen's birthday. I had a long weekend away with a couple of friends of mine up in Cairns and caught up with one of our good friends up there, Gary, who's a Facebook follower and usually is watching these videos. So Catherine held the fort down over the weekend, so thank you to her for doing that. Excuse me. Trying out a couple of different things with the audio this week to try and get some of the background noise out of it. I still can't work out the resolution of the video, but given the nature of my face, I'm probably quite glad that it's not in HD, so you'll just have to put up with standard definition for now, but hopefully the audio is a lot better this week than the last few weeks. Just a couple of hellos. Hello Matthew and hello Werner. G'day Reg, how are you? So let's just jump into the news for the week. So the Ginger Meg's 2 half-ounce silver coin sets arrived towards the end of last week from the mint, and they all got shipped out. Actually not a bad looking set. I think Frosted Unk was the finish. They looked like proofs to me, but the mint's calling them Frosted Unk, so they have all shipped out. I believe there's 1 or 2 left, but they proved to be unexpectedly popular, which is good. The mint only has 2 releases for July, and they are the annual fine silver and fine gold proof sets, which have full sets of the circulating coin designs struck in either 999 silver or 999 gold. The mintage of the silver set, I believe, is 1,000, and the release price of that is $400, and the mintage of the gold set is $400, and the release price of that is $13,500. So if you really absolutely must have one of those sets, please do let us know. I think we're going to get a few, not the gold ones, so we'll probably get a couple of the silver ones if there's some interest in them, but you know, they're pretty low issue numbers and the prices are quite high, so you know, I guess if you're a serious collector, then those are the sorts of things for you. There were some coin auctions last week which had some interest. There was one in America that set a record price for a single coin sale. It was a 1933 double eagle, so that's a $20 gold coin struck from 90% gold. There's about 1.1 ounces of gold in each one of those. And 1933 is an interesting year because they just minted the coins, the 1933 coins, but President Roosevelt enabled the Gold Act in 1933, and all of the mintage, apart from I believe 8 of the coins, was melted down. Somehow some of the coins got out of the mint, a few of them, and the US Secret Service has basically said that all but 7 of the 8 coins are actually illegal to own. They're federal property, and the US government would seize it. But one of the coins, which I believe is one that was held by King Farouk of Egypt in the 1940s and 50s, that was declared legal to own, and that is the single US 1933 double eagle that is available to buy. Anyway, that sold for US $18.9 million, which is probably about Australian $26 million. So that's the highest single price for a coin sold. So not a bad result there for the gentleman who sold that. I believe he purchased it in 2004 for about a third of that value, so he's made a fair return on investment there. Just a few more hellos. Hello Greg. G'day Brett. Hello Dave from Thailand. Thanks for joining in from Thailand. G'day Michael. It was good to see you in here last week, Michael. And g'day Andrew from the Gravy Train. Back onto the news. There were 2 coins that sold, I think it was in Australian coins that sold in a Swiss auction not last weekend, but the weekend before, the two coins were a Adelaide £5 restrike that was struck in 1921 from the original dies, and I can't remember the actual date that the Adelaide pounds were originally struck, 1853 or 55, I can't remember, but the £5 coins were restruck in 1921. I believe that is one of 7 pieces that were restruck. All the others are in a museum. So this was the single Adelaide £5 restrike that was available for sale, and it sold at auction for 1.56 million Australian dollars, which I believe is a record for an Australian coin. The other coin of interest that sold was a 1920 Sydney Sovereign, so that's the regular Sydney Sovereign with the George V obverse and the Pastrucci, St George and the Dragon on the reverse, and that's one of 4 coins available, and that sold for 1.48 million. So there's 2 record prices for Australian coins there, and a record price for any coin anywhere. So it was a pretty big week in coin sales last week. All those coins are, of course, completely out of the price range of myself and Catherine, and I suspect from anyone here that is watching, but it's always interesting to see how things go at the pointy, bleeding end of the coin market. So that's the news for this week. There actually isn't a whole lot going on. The Mint is only releasing those 2 higher value items. I believe this time of the year they're busy with stock takes and so on. There is a group of releases due for August, and they no doubt will be the interest for those will be able to be registered at the beginning of July. So as always, do keep an eye on our Facebook page for that sort of stuff. There was one bit of news that I didn't get to put on the slide because I'd only got information about it this morning, and that was a gentleman came in to see us here last Thursday, a gentleman from Gawler, and Gawler's a town that's about 25 minutes north of the centre of Adelaide, and his house was subjected to a robbery, which is a pretty terrible thing. He had a lot of stuff stolen from the house, but of particular interest among it was a group of military medals that were awarded to his relatives. World War I medals, World War II medals, and the most distinctive medal was a Distinguished Service Cross made out to Frank Wyatt. Now if you go and look at our Facebook post from today, you can actually see a picture of that DSC. So if you are in Adelaide and you play in the military medal market, please do keep an eye out for that. If you happen to see something come up for sale on Facebook Marketplace, either just contact me directly or contact Crime Stoppers, because I believe the police are actively looking for these items. Obviously they're very personally treasured by the gentleman who had them stolen, and basically irreplaceable. The DSC includes a miniature which used to be worn quite frequently by the recipient of the award, so that is of particular concern that that's gone as well. So if you are able to help out and keep an eye out on any military medals, and that DSC is the most obvious one, then please keep your eyes open and either contact us or contact the police if you find anything. Right. As I mentioned, I caught up with Gary, who is a Facebook regular here in Cairns, when I was up there on the weekend, and Gary is a very knowledgeable gentleman. He's a lovely bloke, and he's very active in the Aerocoin market. And I asked, as I always do, because I'm always looking for content for these videos, I asked him what we could talk about in the video, and he suggested looking at why you wouldn't get things graded by PCGS. And those of you who aren't aware what PCGS is the Professional Coin Grading Service, and they are a third-party coin grading service, and you can send them coins or banknotes in the USA, and they will hopefully encapsulate your coin or banknote and assign a numerical grade to it. There are a large number of people that are active on Facebook that seem to be of the belief that getting a coin graded by PCGS is the panacea that will fix all, and you know their answer to everything is get it graded. We get lots of people in here asking us whether X is worth getting graded. We get lots of phone calls asking us if X is worth getting graded. We get lots of comments on our posts saying you should get that graded. Now, Catherine and I don't sell a whole lot to get graded actually, because if you take all things into consideration, a lot of things aren't worth getting graded by PCGS. You know, what does it take to get a coin graded? We've got to send it to America to begin with, and there's a servicing time for the coin to be graded, and what sort of time are you looking at? 3 to 6 months. There's a cost involved. What sort of cost is involved? Anywhere from $35 to $70 a coin for a circulation coin or a gold sovereign or something like that, or for an error anywhere from $100 to $150 for an error. So those things need to be taken into account. Okay, I'll just answer some questions first before we get into the slides. Thank you to Andrew for sharing the post to the gravy train. Yes, David, it is pretty low that someone has stolen war medals. I think probably the most disappointing thing for me is often war medals, because they are so personal. If they are stolen, they end up getting thrown away because you really can't do anything with them, and that's really distressing to think of the idea that they might get thrown away. David says, when PCGS grade coins, are they sealed from the air, vacuum sealed, and inert gas? Now, I believe, David, these days they are sealed. I don't believe they're filled with an inert gas. I know that previously they weren't guaranteed as being sealed from the atmosphere, but I believe, and this is just going on what Eric Eigner at Drake Sterling says, that I believe that they are currently sealed. So Josh says he doesn't like graded coins much. He doesn't like the ugly plastic slab between my hands and my coin. Well, people would say the exact opposite of that, Josh, is that they like the plastic between their hands and their coin, so they can actually touch it and flip it around, and so on and so forth. So you know, there's pluses and minuses to it. Hello, Peter Andrews. Welcome, mate. It's good to see you here. And Tony, thanks for joining us. Late is better than never. So now we'll just get on to, I thought just to cover some of this PCGS stuff, we'd actually look at some specific examples, and these are things that we get asked. These are all questions that we have been asked, particular coins that we've been asked about, or particular issues that we have been asked about. So let me just jump to the right slide here. So let's have a look at this one to begin with. This is a very common question that we get asked here in the shop or over the phone. Should I get my insert mint release product here graded? So, oh look, I've grabbed a 2014 C Mint Mark Green Dove. There's a 2015 C Mint Mark, and you know, here's a 2012 C Mint Mark. You know, should I get that graded? Someone rings up on the phone and says, I've got a 2012 red poppy in a folder. Should I get it graded? Our first question is why? Why do you want to get it graded? And people go, oh, well, it's worth more if it's graded. Generally, no, it's not worth more if it's graded. Why? Because you don't know whether that red poppy in that folder is a good coin or a bad coin compared to all of the other graded red poppies. So, you know, if you have a look at the population report for these, you know, they mostly are MS66s and MS67s, and if they get up to 68 or 69, then they become much harder to find. So should I get this graded? You need to look at it, and you need to understand where it sits in relation to the graded population of that coin. You can't compare it to this $2 coin because these grade differently to these, and you can't compare it to this because these grade differently to those. So just grabbing a coin out of this packet doesn't guarantee that it's a good coin, and without experience you have no idea whether that coin is a good one or a bad one compared to all of the others. So should you get your recent mint product graded? Generally, no. The exceptions are, you know that this is a fantastic coin. Okay, you've got grading experience and you've checked it out and it's a fantastic coin. So perhaps that's worth getting graded and you might see a positive return on your investment because it is a grade rarity. It's an exceptional grade. Somehow perhaps you've bought it for $1. Perhaps you've bought it for $1. So investing the other $35 is probably going to see you give a positive return on investment as well. And the final non-financial reason that you might get that coin graded is to protect it from the elements in a PCGS slab. If you do go down that path, you need to be aware that if that coin comes back as an MS65 or an MS64 as a lower end coin, then you're almost certainly going to lose money on it. So should you get your recent mint release graded by PCGS? The answer generally is no. But less specifically, the answer is it depends. So, you know, there's no easy answer. And when I see Facebook threads where, you know, someone posts up one of these, and I see it reasonably frequently, there's always someone in the comments who says, oh, you should get that graded. You know, they sell for $900. It's like, often they don't, and most of the time they don't. So that's the first one. G'day, Gary. How are you? G'day, Mike. Welcome. And Devlin is asking, do you know how I can send your chat via text? My dad is not computer literate. I'd like to pass on your knowledge. Devlin, I have no idea. Maybe you should take your computer around to his house and show him the videos once they're up on YouTube. That might be the easiest thing. And Peter says, despite that advice about getting the coins graded, or perhaps listening to random people on Facebook, people still get them graded. And, well, at the end of the day, that's their decision. But if you ask Catherine or I or Peter, Peter's a very knowledgeable gentleman when it comes to getting coins graded. You know, we will generally say no to most things. But at the end of the day, it's your money and it's your coin and you can do what you like. So the second slide I wanted to cover here was getting an error coin graded. And, you know, we post up error coins on our page all the time, and there are almost always comments on them, are you getting it graded? And to give you some idea of the number of error coins that Catherine and I get graded, it would be less than 10 a year. We really don't get the vast majority of error coins that we handle graded, and the primary reason, there's three primary reasons for that. One is the coin's gone too long. 6 months is typical. Two is it costs $110 to $150, and a lot of the time you won't see a positive return on that investment, and it is an investment. And the final is that, you know, Catherine and I, we pay strong prices for errors here in the shop, and the margins and the markups aren't such that you can just get it graded and double your money or triple your money. And there seems to be a group of people out there on Facebook that thinks that's the case, that as soon as you get an error graded, it's instantly worth 3 times what you paid for it, and that absolutely isn't the case. The slab doesn't change what it is. Okay, it may add some value just because it defines exactly what it is. It makes it easier for you to understand what the error type is. And it might add some value because it's an exceptional grade, but it doesn't change what the error is. So if it's a mid-grade common error out of a slab, it's still a mid-grade common error in a slab, and I don't believe that the slab adds any value to it. So Peter Andrews brings up a really good point here. He says it's harder to see the edge of the coin when it's slabbed, and sometimes that's very important for an error coin. That's especially so with partial collars and things like that. You do need to examine that edge. I believe NGC, one of the coin grading companies, experimented with an edge view slab several years ago, but I think that's fallen by the wayside. So this was an example of a coin that we had come in. Actually, we've had it for a little while. It's a 1966 upset 10-cent piece. Those of you who aren't aware, at least one die pair of London minted 10-cent pieces had a loose obverse die, and as a result you see all sorts of upsets on that coin. I mean, there aren't a lot of them, but they are around. This one probably grades to AU, and the question we got asked was, are you going to get it graded? In fact, I don't think the question was that. I think someone just said, get it graded. And we won't. Why? Number one is we didn't get it for 10 cents. So, you know, we've got a fair bit of money invested in it already. Number two, $100 to $150 to get it graded. And number three, once you add on our investment that we've put into it buying it, plus the $150 to get it graded, that would be more than the retail value. So, you know, just simply from a purely economic point of view, it ain't worth it for us. We would just be throwing money away. Just because we get it graded, it doesn't make this coin worth $1,000 or $500 or even $300. In a slab or out of a slab, I believe this coin is worth $200 or so. And I don't think the slab would change that. The slab doesn't add anything with regards to explaining what the error is. It's obvious what the error is. It's an upset error. The slab isn't going to add anything with regards to the grade. It's almost uncirculated. It's not an exceptional grade. It's not MS66 or MS68 or anything like that. It isn't a superlative example of the error type. It's a nice example, but it's not the best one. We've had many that are a lot better than this. So all of those reasons are taken into account by us, and we won't get this graded. Now, let's say you even did buy it for 10 cents. Let's say you found it in your change in this condition for 10 cents. Is it worth getting graded then? At least if you did get it graded, you could probably still sell it for more than the grading cost. But I believe that you would end up with more money in your pocket if you sold it raw. So that, for me, is why I would not get this coin graded. So we'll just look at one final example. And this is, and this was an interesting one because of a 1925 penny that we've got in a few weeks ago. Should I get my key date pre-decimal coin graded? Those of you who aren't aware about pre-decimal coins, if that's something that you don't collect, there are a number of key dates in all of the denominations. So, you know, the pennies, it's the 46 and the 25. I won't include the 1930. The florin, it's the 1932, 1915. And you know, there's this idea that you should get all your 1925 pennies graded, or you should get all your 1932 florins graded. And when you start thinking about the time and the economics of it, the answer is you absolutely shouldn't get them all graded. And, you know, there's even points where getting a coin graded will harm the resale value of it. I believe that for 1925 pennies at least, it's easier to sell a 1925 penny that might grade to VF20 raw than it is to sell it in a slab. Because, you know, a raw VF20 1925 penny is not a great coin, but as soon as you've got that PCGS number on it, is definitely not a great coin. So, you know, I think that you need to judge each coin on its merits, and if you believe that that key date coin is, because the existing population of coins is a pyramid, and all the lower grade stuff is at the bottom. There's lots of that, and as the grades get higher and you move up, the supply of higher grades goes down markedly. So if you believe perhaps your coin is in the top 5% of the population or the top 10% of the population, so if it's a high grade, then get it graded. But if it's a mid-grade or a lower grade coin, I don't think you're going to see any benefit by getting the coin graded. Sure, the storage benefits are there, but you'd probably get as good a solution by sticking your coin in a safe lib and in a polypropylene page and in a polypropylene album. Example, what's Peter said here? Peter said if the coin is high grade, get it graded. Yeah, and that's right. So, you know, a 1925 penny, I probably wouldn't get them graded unless you thought they were going to be AU 53 or better. I just wouldn't bother with anything lower than that. 32 florin would probably be around about the same. 46 penny, I probably wouldn't bother if it was under mint state, if it was a 46 penny. So, you know, there's no one answer to all the coins. It's a judgment call, and you need to have experience on each series to understand where that point is worthwhile. I'll just finish up with this example here of the 25 penny that you probably saw this up on our page last week. It's actually a nice coin, full center diamond, full 8 pearls. You know, I think I graded it about EF. It's got rim nicks on it though. It's got rim nicks on the obverse, and I believe that because of that it is not worth getting graded. It would either no grade, or PCGS would downgrade it because of those rim nicks. So as such, the 6-month wait, the $50 odd to get it graded, means that it's just not worth our time or our money. We paid good money for it. We didn't get it for free. We didn't find it in scrap. So, you know, making a purely business-based decision, we wouldn't get this graded. If it was your personal coin and perhaps you'd had it for 20 years and you'd paid nothing for it, you might think about getting it graded, but I do encourage you to think about this, is that even in a PCGS slab with a numerical grade, this is a problem coin. It's got rim nicks, and problem coins are always difficult to sell. So, you know, I would think that investing the money in getting this coin graded would not be worthwhile, because you've just thrown another $50 at a coin that is still going to be hard to sell in or out of a PCGS slab. The big exception to getting key date coins graded is when they are exceptional rarities, and exceptional rarities are worth getting graded purely for the authenticity that the PCGS slab assures you. So 1930 pennies, for example. So many fake 1930 pennies around, hard to sell them to a non-dealer. Getting it graded by PCGS gives you that value of authenticity. So, you know, they're exceptional rarities. They go by a different set of rules. Yeah. Right, just a couple of comments here. Rob's just listed 2 1925 pennies graded in this week's Abacus auction. We'll see how they go. And a 1946. Yeah, we'll see how they go. The last few 1925 pennies we've had graded, we probably would have been better off leaving them raw. With the time and the money, we didn't really realise any more money by getting them graded. But I generally like getting them graded if they're going to be if they're not going to be no graded. I generally like getting them graded, and this coin without the rim nicks, I would have got it graded because I think it would have been an AU50, AU55, or perhaps an AU58, and that would have been worth getting graded. Right, so Peter Andrew says, my 1920 dot above English obverse is a no grade, but I got it graded anyway as he wanted it in his set, and there are only a few tens of them known. So that's an exceptional rarity. It's also a little bit harder for a lot of people to understand what it is. The drop 31 Indian obverse is another good example. They are low grade. They're lower grade coins, but they're hard to understand. We had a 1920 dot above English obverse graded about a year ago for exactly the same reason, just to prove what it was. It made it more liquid for us, made it easier for us to get rid of, because you have the assurance of the PCGS identification. Right, that's it for today. That's gone way longer than I expected it to. We've gone for a full 30 minutes today. Please be like Gary and give me ideas about topics that we can talk about in this video. Next week I'll actually look at some coins that we did get graded and cover the reasons why we did get them graded, so that you can get some positive reasons about why PCGS grading is a good thing for some coins. So please join us then to watch that. If no one has any more questions, I will wind it up there after 30 minutes. I think this is our longest video. So thanks everyone for watching, and thanks Andrew for your kind comments there. Andrew says it's a great video, excellent information about grading. We try our hardest. I do enjoy doing these videos, and this is a topic that that I've become much more interested in the last couple of years. So thanks everyone for watching. Thanks Josh. Thanks Michael. Thanks Dave. Goodbye everyone. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next Monday, regular time next week, Monday at 12. Take care. Happy coin hunting. Stay safe, and we'll be back soon.